Chapter 1. Stop playing. Blind. See the game. Right now, you're being played by a game you don't even realize you're in. There are rules controlling you, patterns shaping you, forces influencing your choices, your emotions, your money, your relationships, and you don't see them. That's the dangerous part. The game works best on people who believe they're not playing. So let me start with a simple, uncomfortable truth. There is a pattern running your life right now, and you don't even know it exists. You think your habits are random. You think your reactions are natural. You think your failures are bad luck. No, they're not random. They're not natural. And they're not luck. They're structured, predictable, scripted. And until you see the script, you will repeat the same outcomes again and again and again. Because here's the surprising truth. People don't fail from weakness. They fail from blindness. You're not losing because you're incapable. You're losing because you're unaware. That's the core issue. That's the thing no one tells you. That's the reason this audiobook exists. Awareness isn't a feel-good concept. Awareness is survival. Awareness is the first weapon in the game. And if you don't have it, the game has you. The first micro-story. The man who never saw the pattern. I once knew a man who worked hard every year but ended every year broke. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't stupid. He wasn't unlucky. What he was blind. Every January he felt hopeful. Every March he felt stressed. Every July he felt overwhelmed. Every December he felt disappointed. Same cycle, same arc, same emotional story. One day I asked him a question that changed his life. What belief is controlling your money? He froze. Then he laughed. Then he got defensive. But eventually he admitted something he had never said out loud. My father always said, money disappears. I guess I started believing it. Invisible belief. Visible outcome. He wasn't failing because of life. He was failing because of a belief he never questioned. That's how the game works. It hides inside the stories you inherited. It hides inside the thoughts you never examine. It hides inside the emotions you mistake for who you are. And it plays you until you see it. The second micro-story. The woman who repeated the same heartbreak. Then there was a woman who kept dating the same type of partner. Same heartbreak, same disrespect, same emotional roller coaster. She told me, I just attract the wrong people. No, she didn't attract the wrong people. She chose familiar people. There's a difference. When I asked why she stayed with them, she said something that reveals the entire structure of this chapter. I'd rather feel pain I understand than peace I don't trust. That one sentence exposes the whole game. People don't repeat pain because they like it. They repeat pain because it's predictable. Predictability feels safe, even when it's destroying you. That's the trap. That's the cage. That's the blindness. And that's why awareness is step one. The counterintuitive insight. Here's the insight most people never hear. Awareness doesn't change you. Awareness exposes you. It shows you the real reason you self-sabotage. It reveals what's actually driving your decisions. It uncovers the beliefs pulling your strings. Awareness is not comfortable. Awareness is not pleasant. It is confrontational, brutal, disorienting. It forces you to face the truth about why you settle, why you stay stuck, why you procrastinate, why you repeat the same failures. And here's the emotional moment you must hear clearly. The first time you truly see yourself, it will hurt. It's supposed to. That pain is data. That discomfort is direction. That shock is the doorway out of blindness. Your brain resists awareness because awareness removes your excuses. Awareness gives you responsibility. Awareness forces you to act. That's why most people avoid it. That's why they keep losing. The game. You never realized you were playing. You think you're making choices. You're not. Your patterns are. Your past is. Your wounds are. Your unconscious beliefs are. When you start noticing these patterns, life stops feeling chaotic. It starts feeling organized. You begin to see why certain people trigger you, why you chase specific outcomes, why you sabotage progress, why you fear success more than failure, why you stay small when you crave more. Awareness turns confusion into clarity. Clarity turns chaos into structure. Structure turns fear into strategy. This is when you stop being a pawn in the game and start becoming a player. Real-world behavior. How to actually see the game. Let's get strategic. Here's how you begin today. Slow down your reactions. When something hurts, annoys, shocks, or frustrates you, pause. Your strongest emotions point to your oldest patterns. 2. Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Patterns repeat because you ignore the lesson. Pay attention. 3. Track the decisions you're ashamed to admit. Your hidden habits reveal your real game. 4. Question the belief underneath every repeated failure. Every pattern is held in place by a belief. Break the belief. Break the pattern. 5. Study your results more than your intentions. Intentions tell you who you want to be. Results tell you who you actually are. This is the work. This is the process. This is where change begins. Not with motivation, not with hype, not with positive thinking, with awareness. The chapter, climax. The shift. When you start seeing the game, you stop blaming luck, you stop blaming people, you stop blaming circumstances. You realize the enemy was never outside. It was always inside. Your patterns were the cage. Your blindness was the lock. Your awareness is the key. You woke up. You noticed the mechanics. You saw the traps. Good. Now we move deeper. Because awareness isn't power until you combine it with the next force. A force that decides influence, timing, attraction, status, money, and momentum. In the next chapter, you'll learn the only currency that controls every game you play.
Chapter 2. Thought is your first move. Every mistake you made today started long before your body moved. Not when you spoke, not when you acted, not when you reacted. It started with a thought. Because thought is the first move, the first domino, the silent beginning of every win and every collapse. Your mind moves first. Your life follows after. Most people never realize this, and that's why they keep losing. They think life happens out there. They think circumstances shape their emotions. They think people dictate their reactions. They think the world decides their outcomes. No. Your interpretation decides everything, the invisible sequence that runs your entire life. Here's the real pattern behind every success and every disaster. Thought, emotion, action, outcome. That's the structure. That's the pipeline. That's the autopilot program running your life. A thought triggers an emotional state. That emotional state drives your behavior. That behavior produces your result. And the result reinforces the original thought. That loop can build you or bury you. Most people never interrupt the loop. They keep the same thought. So they keep the same outcome. Change the thought, and the outcome shifts. Change nothing, and everything repeats. Micro-story. When expectation becomes self-fulfilling. A man walks into a room expecting to be rejected. Just one thought. They won't like me. That's the first move. Emotion, tension, doubt, withdrawal. Actions, no eye contact, tight shoulders, short answers, outcome. People don't connect with him. They don't respond to him. They don't feel his presence. He predicted rejection and then behaved in a way that guaranteed it. His mind moved first. His life followed after. The surprise insight. Most people never see. Here's the hard truth. You don't react to reality. You react to the story you tell about reality. It's not the event. It's the meaning. It's not what happened. It's what you decided it meant. Two people face the same setback. One collapses, one grows. Same situation, different interpretation, different life. It's not about the event. It's about the lens. You have a choice. You always did. The shorter, sharper second story. I once knew a brilliant woman who fell apart every time something went wrong. A small conflict? She shut down. A delay? She spiraled. Not because the situation was catastrophic, but because her first thought always was, if something goes wrong, everything is collapsing. That one sentence triggered panic. Panic triggered chaos. Chaos triggered terrible decisions. She wasn't falling apart because life was heavy. She was falling apart because her first thought was weak. When she finally replaced it with, "This is pressure, not disaster," everything changed. Her emotion changed. Her behavior changed. Her outcomes changed. The event, that didn't change. The interpretation did. The hard truth moment. Most people don't fail because life is difficult. They fail because their first thought is undisciplined. That's the real battle, not the world, not the stress, not the obstacle, the first thought. The transformation begins with ownership. Here's where the tough love comes in. Stop pretending your results are random. Stop acting confused about your patterns. Stop blaming circumstances for outcomes your thoughts created. Your thinking is the engine. Your thinking is the blueprint. Your thinking is the hidden architect behind your life. Thought, emotion, action, outcome. Every time. You don't need permission to shift your mindset. You don't need approval to rewrite your story. You don't need certainty to choose a stronger interpretation. You have influence over the first move. That's all you need. How to think like a player, not a pawn. Let's get practical. 1. Catch the first thought. The first thought is the steering wheel. Everything after that is momentum. 2. Label the thought. Say it clearly. This is fear. This is insecurity. This is my old pattern. Naming it weakens its grip. 3. Replace it with a disciplined thought. Not fantasy, not delusion. Discipline. This is difficult, not impossible. I can handle this moment. This pressure won't break me. 4. Watch your body shift. A new thought creates a new emotional state. A new emotional state creates a different action. A different action creates a different outcome. This is not motivation. This is mechanics. 5. Repeat until it becomes your instinct. Your thoughts can be your enemy today, but your weapon tomorrow. The choice is yours. The quiet emotional drop. Here's something most people avoid admitting. Your mind is not a neutral place. It's not passive. It's not harmless. Your mind is building your reality in real time. Interpretation by interpretation. Your thoughts are not just thoughts. They are the subtle architects of your entire life. You don't have to believe every story your brain tells you. You don't have to obey every insecurity. You don't have to surrender to the first fearful interpretation that shows up. You have a choice. You always did. Step into power. Stop letting automatic thoughts run your life. Stop letting fear write your first move. Stop letting your unexamined mind hold the steering wheel. Start choosing intentional thoughts. Start building the emotional state you need. Start acting from discipline instead of panic. Thought is your first move. Thought is your leverage. Thought is your quiet advantage. Change the thought. The outcome shifts. Change nothing. The pattern repeats. Now you understand the architecture. Now you see the sequence. Now the game is finally visible to you. And you're ready for the next layer. because thoughts determine your direction, but your silence determines your power. You mastered the inner voice. Now let's master the absence of noise.
Chapter 3. Expect the win or lose by default. There's a reason some people win before the game even starts. It isn't luck. It isn't talent. It isn't timing. It's expectation. Expectation is the silent force shaping your outcomes long before you take action. Expectation is the invisible contract you sign with your future. Expectation is creation. Expectation is power. Expectation is the strategy nobody sees, but everyone feels. Most people don't understand this. That's why they sabotage themselves before they ever begin. They convince themselves that results start with effort, that success begins with movement, that output is everything. No. It all begins with what you expect will happen. If you expect failure, your mind will build the path toward it. If you expect rejection, your behavior will guarantee it. If you expect things to collapse, your decisions will quietly nudge them in that direction. You have a choice. That's the key. The hidden rule. Most people never see. Here's the truth that separates champions from spectators. You do not rise to your goals. You fall to your expectations. That's the real game. Not what you want, not what you dream about, what you actually expect when you move. Expectation shapes your emotional state. Your emotional state shapes your actions. Your actions shape your results. This is architecture, not inspiration. Expect the worst, and you'll subconsciously prepare for it. Expect the win, and you'll subconsciously move like someone who's already ahead. Expectation is the foundation. Expectation is the blueprint. Expectation is your first move. You don't need confidence to expect victory. You don't need proof. You don't even need belief. You need a decision. The athlete who won before the game. Even started-on elite athletes don't walk into competition hoping for the best. They don't enter asking whether they belong. They don't wonder if they're good enough. They walk in with one internal command: I win. And that expectation rewires everything. Their posture lifts, their breathing steadies, their timing sharpens, their decisions tighten, their focus becomes lethal. Expectation builds the internal momentum that creates external dominance. A champion isn't confident because they're winning because they expect themselves to win. Expectation is creation. Expectation is power. Expectation is your silent strategy. Most people wait for success before giving themselves permission to expect it. That's backwards. Expectation comes first. Evidence comes second. That's the key. The counterintuitive truth you must hear. Here's the part most people avoid. You are always predicting your future. You just don't realize it. Every time you think, this probably won't work, you're writing the opening scene of your failure. Every time you whisper, no one will care, you act in ways that make yourself invisible. Every time you assume, I'll probably mess this up, you behave like someone who's already defeated. Expectation becomes the projector. Life becomes the screen. Expect chaos, and you'll generate chaos. Expect difficulty, and you'll prepare for difficulty. Expect disappointment, and you'll walk straight toward it. This isn't about delusion. It's about discipline. Discipline over the expectations you allow to live in your mind. You have a choice. You always did. The micro story. The fighter who lost before round 1. A fighter steps into the ring. He trained hard. He's conditioned. He's skilled. But before the bell rings, one quiet thought slips in. What if he's stronger than me? Just one expectation of weakness. What does it create? Hesitation. Tight movements, slower reflexes, fear overriding instinct. He loses the fight, not because he wasn't capable, not because he lacked skill, but because he expected defeat. Now flip it. Same ring? Same opponent? Same preparation, but a different expectation. He'll have to kill me to stop me. That expectation builds aggression, precision, tunnel vision, violent focus. One man loses before round one. The other wins before the bell. Expectation is creation. Expectation is power. Expectation is your silent strategy. The hard truth: you can't outperform your assumptions. Here's the brutal truth: you cannot outperform the story you expect to live. You cannot outrun the outcome you believe is coming. You cannot rise above a destiny you've already accepted. Expect struggle, and you'll find it. Expect to be ignored, and you'll blend into the background. Expect collapse, and life will eventually match it. Not because you're cursed, not because you're broken, because your expectation shapes your decisions, and your decisions shape the result. This isn't about fear. It's about discipline. Discipline over your internal predictions. You have a choice. Real-world behavior. How to expect the win. Here's how to build disciplined expectation. 1. Identify your default expectation. Be brutally honest. Do you assume things will work for you or against you? Your default expectation is your destiny unless you change it. 2. Challenge the weak expectation. Say it out loud. This is doubt. This is fear. This is me expecting the worst. Naming it breaks the spell. 3. Replace it with a disciplined expectation. Not fantasy, not fake positivity, discipline. This will work because I will make it work. I win the long game. I can handle pressure. I'm built for this. You don't need evidence. You need intention. 4. Act in alignment with the new expectation. Move like someone who expects progress. Speak like someone who expects respect. Decide like someone who expects opportunity. Show up like someone who expects victory. Expectation is not passive. It's a command. 5. Repeat until it becomes instinct. You win the future you rehearse, you lose the future you fear. Expectation builds the blueprint. Action builds the structure. That's the key. The emotional drop. The silent truth. Here's a truth most people never confront. Every room you've entered, every opportunity you've touched, every relationship you've stepped into was filtered through the expectation you carried. Your life is not just a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of what you expect yourself to become. You don't have to expect loss. You don't have to expect rejection. You don't have to expect collapse. You have a choice. You always did. Setting up the next move. Expectation is not a wish. It is not a hope. It is not a fantasy. Expectation is a strategy. Expectation is a weapon. Expectation is the foundation of every win you will ever build. Expect the win, and you move like a winner. Expect the loss, and you lose by default. You choose the direction. You choose the lens. You choose the outcome you prepare for. Expectation is creation. Expectation is power. Expectation is your silent strategy. And now that you understand how to build the future internally, it's time to understand how to shape it externally. You've mastered expectation. Chapter 4. What you speak, you create. Your words are not neutral. Your words are not casual. Your words are commands. That's the part most people never understand. Every sentence you speak is an instruction you feed into your subconscious mind. And your subconscious doesn't argue. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't filter. It obeys. Say, I can't, and your mind closes every door. Say, it's hard, and your mind locks you in place. Say, I always fail, and your mind works overtime to make it true. You create the world you speak. You shape the future you describe. You either strengthen yourself with your tongue, or you destroy yourself with it. You have a choice. Most people never make that choice. They speak whatever fear hands them. They echo whatever doubt whispers. They repeat the language of defeat until defeat becomes familiar, almost comfortable. And then They wonder why life doesn't change. Your words are building your tomorrow. Your words are training your identity. Your words are defining the limits of your reality. This isn't about confidence. It's about discipline. Discipline over the language you choose to use. That's the key. Your speech is a mirror of your expectations. You can understand a person's entire mindset after listening to them speak for 60 seconds. I'm not lucky. Nothing works for me. I'm not like those people. My life is just difficult. I always get disappointed. These aren't descriptions. They're predictions, prophecies disguised as complaints, and the mind never stops trying to prove your words right. Your brain filters your entire reality to match your language. Speak limitation. It finds limitation. Speak weakness. It finds weakness. Speak chaos. It finds chaos. Speak strength. It sharpens its search for strength. Expectation becomes creation, and creation often begins with words. You have a choice. A story. You need to hear. A man once went to a mentor frustrated with his life. Nothing seemed to move, nothing changed, nothing improved, and he explained his situation with the language he had used for years. I'm unlucky. I can't catch a break. People don't respect me. I always struggle. Nothing works out for me. He spoke like someone who already lost. He wasn't describing his life, he was reinforcing it. The mentor didn't give him strategies. He didn't give him tools. He didn't give him a checklist. He gave him a single instruction. For the next 30 days, speak as if your life is unfolding in your favor. Don't exaggerate. Don't lie. Just stop using language that weakens you. The man resisted. He said it felt fake. He said he didn't believe any of it. And the mentor said something he never forgot. It's not fake. It's discipline. That's the key. So he tried. He replaced I always fail with I'm improving every day. He replaced nothing works for me with I make things work. He replaced people don't respect me with I respect myself first. He replaced I can't with I'm learning. Did his entire life transform immediately? No. But something more important happened. He stopped sabotaging himself with his tongue. He stopped poisoning his own mindset. He stopped training his subconscious to shrink. And within weeks, everything about him changed. His posture, his tone, his choices, his confidence. Because the words you repeat become the beliefs you live by. Speak it until you see it. Speak it until you believe it. Speak it until you become it. You have a choice. Your words reveal your allegiance, fear or discipline. You're always speaking from one of two places, fear or discipline. Fear's language sounds like this. I'm not ready. What if I fail? What if they laugh? It's too hard. Discipline's language sounds like this. I'll learn. I'll adjust. I'll try again. I'll figure it out. Fear waits. Discipline moves. Fear asks for permission. Discipline builds direction. You don't need their permission. You need your own conviction. And your words can give you that. That's the key. Stop speaking in the language of losers. Let's cut the fluff. Stop saying, I don't care anymore. You do care. That's why it hurts. Stop saying, it is what it is. That's the slogan of people who stopped fighting. Stop saying, I'm not good enough. You're not good enough yet, but you can be. Stop saying, nothing changes for me. Nothing changes because your language doesn't change. You have a choice. Speak like a quitter. Become a quitter. Speak like a fighter. Become a fighter. Speak like a leader. Become a leader. Words are identity. Words are direction. Words are destiny. That's the key. The 3 rules of powerful speech. Let's make this practical. Rule 1. Never speak against yourself. Not as a joke, not out of frustration, not just venting. Your subconscious doesn't understand sarcasm. It only understands repetition. Rule 2. Speak the language of progress, not perfection. Stop saying I'm stuck. Say, I'm working through it. Stop saying, I don't know. Say, I'm finding out. Stop saying, I failed. Say, I learned. This isn't delusion. It's direction. Rule 3. Speak into your future, not your fears. I'm becoming disciplined. I'm becoming stronger. I'm becoming more focused. I'm becoming the person I needed years ago. Speak it until you see it. Speak it until it feels normal. Speak it until it becomes who you are. That's the key. Why this matters in the game of life. Every transformation begins with a sentence. Every comeback begins with a declaration. Every new chapter begins with words spoken in alignment with who you choose to become. You're not controlled by fate. You're controlled by focus, and your focus follows your language. What you speak, you create. What you repeat, you reinforce. What you declare, you eventually manifest through choices, actions, habits, and daily discipline. This isn't magic. This is mechanics. Your tongue is your steering wheel, and you have a choice. You've mastered your words. Now it's time to master your environment. Because what you say shapes your identity, but what you allow around you shapes your reality. Your words create. Your silence protects. Let's talk about the next chapter. Chapter 10. Recode your identity or repeat your life. Here's the brutal truth. You are not stuck because life is unfair. You are stuck because you're loyal to an outdated version of yourself. You think you're trying to change your habits, but your identity keeps dragging you back into the same patterns, the same decisions, the same doubts, the same outcomes. That's the real battle. Not motivation, not discipline, not willpower, identity. Identity is the silent force directing your entire life. It decides what risks you take, what goals you attempt, what failures you accept, what success you believe belongs to you. And most people never question it. They just adopt the identity they were handed. From childhood, from teachers, from parents, from mistakes they made before they even understood who they were. Those old stories follow them for years, sometimes decades. I'm inconsistent. I give up easily. I'm not confident. I'm always anxious. This is just who I am. No, this is who you've been taught to be. This is who you've practiced being. This is who you've accepted without realizing acceptance was optional. Identity isn't who you are. Identity is who you've repeated. And here's the part most people never realize. Your life cannot rise higher than your identity. You don't fall because you're weak. You fall because you're trying to build a new life on top of an old self. If you don't rewrite the identity, you will repeat the life every single time. But the moment you shift your identity, truly shift it, your entire life snaps into motion with shocking speed. Because life responds to identity the way a computer responds to code. Change the code, and everything that runs on top of it begins to change. So let's break this down. Not spiritually, not poetically, not feel-good nonsense. Let's go tactical, behavioral, actionable. This is how you recode your identity. Step 1. Expose the story running your life. Every identity begins as a story, and most stories begin before you know how to question them. Maybe a teacher compared you to someone smarter. Maybe a parent said you were irresponsible. Maybe you failed at something trivial and started believing you weren't that type of person. These stories lodge themselves in your mind and become labels. Labels become beliefs. Beliefs become patterns. Patterns become identity. And identity becomes destiny. So start here. Write down the story. All of it. Every label you've been carrying like a badge you never wanted. Then ask yourself, who gave me this story? Why did I accept it? Is it even true? What evidence contradicts it? Most old identities collapse the moment you shine a light on them. They look solid from far away, but paper thin up close. Step 2. Cut off the old identity at the source. Here is the most liberating truth you will ever hear. You don't owe loyalty to the person you used to be. You're allowed to outgrow the version of yourself that was shaped by fear, by doubt, by other people's opinions. You don't need permission to drop an identity that keeps you small. You don't need permission to become someone new. You don't need permission to evolve faster than anyone expects. They don't get a vote. They never did. The old story only survives if you keep feeding it. Starve it, and it dies. Step 3. Build a new identity. Behavior first. Most people create vague identities. I'm confident. I'm disciplined. I'm strong. Sounds nice, means nothing. Identity isn't a feeling. Identity is a behavior. Your new identity must be specific, action-based, measurable. Daily not. I'm confident, but I take action even when I'm scared. Not, I'm disciplined, but I follow my plan even when I don't feel like it. Not, I believe in myself, but I choose the action that builds self-respect every single day. This is how real transformation happens, through identity tied to behavior, not identity tied to emotion. Step 4. Act as the new identity before you feel like it. This is the gap where everyone quits. They wait for confidence. They wait for motivation. They wait for the right moment. But identity doesn't show up first. Behavior does. You act like the new identity first, and the feeling catches up later. Every small choice is a vote for the person you want to become. Every disciplined action is a message to your brain. This is who we are now. Identity isn't built in breakthroughs. Identity is built in repetitions. Small, boring, unglamorous repetitions. And with enough repetitions, the old identity loses its grip, and the new one becomes automatic. Step 5. Reinforce the identity relentlessly. Identity doesn't grow in a burst of motivation. It grows in consistency. Say it, act it, live it, repeat it. You become the person you repeat being. Every choice either strengthens your past or builds your future. Every action either reinforces who you were or who you're becoming. Identity changes in micro moments, tiny decisions, daily standards. Rewrite enough of those, and your entire life begins to shift faster than you expect. Because the moment your identity changes, your actions change. And the moment your actions change, your results change. And the moment your results change, your destiny changes. Rewrite your identity, or repeat your life. The choice has always been yours. And now that you understand the foundation, you've recoded your identity. You win by choosing your identity, mastering your skills, protecting your energy, and stepping into the version of yourself that plays to win, not to survive. You win by becoming the person who is impossible to defeat. So here's your final challenge. Starting today, stop watching the game. Stop fearing the game. Stop running from the game. Step onto the field and play it with intention, precision, and courage. Because now, you know the rules. Now, the game is yours.